We've talked a lot in the past on the YouTube channel about StarCraft and this franchise moving forward, and, even talking about the past, the present, where we stand right now, and what we could be hoping to see, or the things that we could see in the future. And in this segment of the show, I want to talk about, StarCraft 3 in particular, and will there be a StarCraft 3? I want to break those things down and, get your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, StarCraft 2, this is a title that, of course, was released all the way back in July of 2010. And I say that because, to essentially say this, between StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2, we had about 10 years. Now we are in the year 2020, at the very end of 2020, another 10 years between StarCraft 2 to a potential StarCraft 3. Now, some people are stating that you got to go based on when Legacy of the Void came out, and 10 years after that, then that's when we can expect a StarCraft 3. But before even really breaking that down, let's talk about the chances of a StarCraft 3 actually happening. So I've talked ad nauseum, guys, on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of that content on StarCraft 3. The reasoning why I believe this game needs to, come out, the reason why this franchise needs to continue. I've talked about those things a lot. From just not only just the story itself, from, I believe that there's so much to be told here in the StarCraft universe. It reminds me of Star Wars. There's just, endless possibility, all these different worlds and things of that nature, lots of races to be, to come to the fray. And just, I believe there's so much more to be told here in this universe. So from the story to the co-op modes, to the multiplayer modes, all of those things I believe need to continue in some capacity or another. Now, obviously, guys, StarCraft 2 is in a pretty good place, in my personal opinion. When we talk about from the esports side to just the game as a whole, I mean, it's, free to play at this point, which is huge. But I think it was almost a little too late. It became free to play not too long ago. We obviously, with the StarCraft esports scene, is absolutely awesome. I believe it's one of the best in the world. It's absolutely incredible to watch. It's the tennis of esports, in my opinion. Really comes down to one person, like you yourself, playing at the highest level of competition. And so the StarCraft esports scene has always been one that's very special to me. But the question has always, kind of come up is, will this continue? Because obviously we've had a very shaky past. People don't like talking about it, but StarCraft 2 esports has had a very shaky past in the past, with the match fixing scandal that really hurt the scene in a major way, losing advertisers, teams, and all of those different things. And so, I think that this would be a fresh start. StarCraft 3 would be a fresh start, not only for, the esports scene, but also for the lore, the story, the continuation potentially with Raynor and Kerrigan, or if they wanted to go in a totally new direction, they absolutely could. There's just an endless amount of possibility, I believe, with the StarCraft 3. It could also round out the trilogy. But will there be a StarCraft 3? And guys, I've stated many times on the channel that I believe that there would be a StarCraft 3. But, however, more recently, we have gotten a lot of developments, that being not so much what's come out of Blizzard, but it's what people are doing that have worked at Blizzard, specifically on the StarCraft games, where they're heading now. Dreamhaven was created, guys. Frost Giant Studios was created with former Blizzard employees that specifically worked on StarCraft. Now, Dreamhaven, obviously, they aren't solely focused on, a real-time strategy game, but they are implying that they're working on a number of different titles, which could really lead us, which we've talked about on the YouTube channel, that Dreamhaven could very well be the next Blizzard, or the competition to Blizzard. And Frost Giant Studios, this is a company that is trying to create the next real-time strategy game, which tells me that those guys got the indication that Blizzard and Activision aren't really interested in working on another RTS game like StarCraft. And so they decided to leave the company to work on their own project. And this is a real-time strategy game that's coming out of Frost Giant Studios. I'm very excited about it. They, of course, are taking things from what people are talking about in the StarCraft community, or they're, getting people's opinions on different things and what they should do. And I think that this could be a really great RTS. So what I'm getting at here, guys, is that StarCraft 3 seems that this could be a game that may never see the light of day, because you've got a number of former Blizzard employees that worked on StarCraft 2 in particular, moving over to or creating their own thing, joining forces with like Dreamhaven, whatever it might be. It just doesn't give me a very good vibe that StarCraft 3 is going to come out. Now, is StarCraft done altogether? That's another question that we'll have to ask ourselves, but I don't think StarCraft's done as a whole. I believe that you've got the RTS side may very well be done, but from a first-person shooter perspective, this was a game, StarCraft was going to have a first-person shooter. Actually, two were going to come out. One was called StarCraft Ghost. The other was an untitled StarCraft first-person shooter. Both of them got canceled, though. So that's where we stand with that. They obviously, that being Activision and Blizzard, were looking at making a first-person shooter around StarCraft, probably because they thought that a first-person shooter would sell better than the RTS. Could it be a changing of the times? It very well could be. Long story short, guys, StarCraft 3, I believe, needs to happen still. I do. Even though there's other companies coming out and into the fray, like Frost Giant Studios, Dreamhaven, they look like they're going to be working on RTSs. But StarCraft, I believe, is an IP that needs to continue. And if Blizzard and Activision don't see that, it's very sad. And I would love to actually see Blizzard or Activision sell the IP to the highest bidder. Someone who could kind of take it and do a first-person shooter, but also do an RTS, which is what it was built on. Do a mobile game. Do all of those things, because I believe that all of those things would help build the legacy, the lore of StarCraft. And I want to see it continue, guys, in a major way. So in short, guys, I think that StarCraft 3 at this point is in a limbo state, or a state of no return at this point, or just, I don't know if this is ever going to exist, unfortunately, even though I do believe it should, because of what's been happening with these other developers, moving over to other teams, to leaving Blizzard. It doesn't really show a very good future for the IP. But let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think that we're going to see a StarCraft 3? Should a StarCraft 3 exist? Should it come out? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more StarCraft 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.